Hi guys, well we've got the 105mm lens set up on the camera, and what I wanted to do is just go through with you the three main areas on these lenses. It's the same if I'm using the 180mm lens or I'm using the 105. So to start with, we've got the depth of field and focusing scale. This is quite easy to use really. Let's say we're out in the field, we've composed a shot and we've got some rocks pretty close to the camera which we want in focus. So what we would do, we'd look at the infinity mark on this side and say our chosen aperture is f32. We'd put the infinity mark over the f32 on this side, and then we come to this side and we can see that the 3 meter mark is just and so on the underside of the f32. So we've got basically just over 3 meters to infinity in focus, but obviously we want 3 meters in focus. Now these depth of field scales on large format lenses are not always 100% accurate. So what I tend to do, I'll leave the aperture at the chosen aperture of f32, but I move the infinity mark over to the f45. So now come to this side, we've got 2 3/4 meters to infinity, which will be sharp, and that's how we focus. It's as simple as that. Now if I'm in Scotland or I'm in the lakes and I'm quite high up in the mountains where I've not got any foreground interest, I just put that over the f32, because on these two lenses, the two lenses I use, f32 seems to be the sweet spot, and I just bang that over there. Don't have to worry about this side because I've got nothing in the foreground and everything's absolutely beautifully sharp. So yeah, that's how we focus. So now on the left hand side of the lens, we've got the shutter speeds all the way up to 500ths of a second, never used, and all the way down to a second, and then to bulb. So that's that side. And then on this side, the right hand side, we've got the apertures from f8 to f45 in third of a stops. It does actually go all the way to there, which I believe is f64, which I've never used. Most of the time it's f32, f45. So yeah, so the other thing we need to sort of discuss as well, which will probably be easy while I'm doing this video, is how we bracket on this camera. Now if I'm using Kodak Ektar, I don't bracket. It's a bit more forgiving film. It gives beautiful natural colours, which is what I want. Basically what I see is what I get. But if I'm using Fuji Velvia slide film, which is well known for its oversaturated colours and that, is not forgiving. A third of a stop can make or break an image. So I would bracket on this camera with Velvia. That's, for an example, we're using an aperture of f32. We focus the camera. Now we're done with meter readings, and let's say for example again, the first chosen shutter speed is going to be 15th of a second. So everything's set on this camera as well with a large format lens. All large format lenses, you've got to cock the shutter for every shot. We then get the cable release, bang, that's the first shot in the bag. Now what we're going to do now, we're going to go stop down to 1/8 of a second. We're still at f32, cock the shutter, fire the shot. So now we've got 2 shots in the bag, a stop apart. Now obviously wind on film between each shots. And now what we're going to do, we're going to move the aperture to f32 and a third. Cock the shutter, fire the shot, wind your film on to your last shot, and then for your last shot, we're going to move that to f32 and 2/3. Cock the shutter, fire the shot, and now we have 4 shots in the bag, all a third of a stop apart. And that means now that by bracketing in a thirds, one of them images will be spot on. 98% of the time it's usually the second or the third image. And that's how we bracket with Fuji Velvia. Also, you might have noticed on the front of the lens here, we've got a Fuji center filter. Now that is basically like a graduated filter, but it's just dark in the middle and then fades to clear. and that's just purely because this lens, it's only used on this lens, not the other, is that it's so wide it just reduces vignetting and spreads light evenly to the corners. It's actually, it says on there it's a 2-stop, but I only remove a stop when I'm doing my calculations. So yeah, that's basically how the lens works. I just thought it'd be easy to do a video for you rather than standing in front of you and trying to explain it and people can't see. So I hope that helps. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and either collar me at the interval or at the end, and we'll go through it. Okay, thanks.